So to me, there's no obstruseness or no vagueness in the fact that women are the lesser sex. And it goes back to emotions, it goes back to being less strong. If you're less decisive, you're less strong, you've invented less. And when you look at religion, you are not as close to God, or you do not have the prophets, you do not have the religious profoundness, you do not have the religious connection, you do not have the religious figures that men do, then you are not equal to men, okay? You know, for example, $1 is not equal to $100. You can lie all you want. You can come out in the news and say, you know what? People are sexist because they don't want to admit $1 equals $100. You know, they're sexist. It's just not the case. You know, homosexuality, you know, discrimination based on sexual preference and gender is not the same as discrimination based on race. And we're going to explore that. If you look at the Bible, it agrees with me. If you look at the Quran and the Torah, it agrees with me. But that's neither here nor there. You know, there is no ambiguity. There is no recondite. There is no doubtfulness, no uncertainty, no mystery, no question in the fact that religions, major religions, have shown that men have a stronger spiritual connection to God for two reasons. One, men are the main figures. Two, society accepted it openly because it wasn't like, oh my goodness, how are men the more spiritual ones? It was like, well, duh, that's what you'd expect because we all inherently know this. It's innate. It's natural. It's basic. Straightforward. Okay, so when you're talking about mind, body, and soul, well, if you have an emotional mind and it's constantly clouding your judgment, let's take the issue of dating. Dating is a very important issue. Reproduction is perhaps one of the most important issues. You know, why do you think eugenicists put so much money into it? Why do you think population control is such a big issue? Why do you think, you know, hypergamy is such a huge problem and feminists say that it's a good thing and so on and so forth? You know, abortion. I mean, these are huge issues. Where's this world headed? Who's going to reproduce? No, in the Bible, be fruitful and multiply, and Noah and so on. It's a big issue. One that females have not hesitated in showing their lack of understanding and their lack of genuineness. They're quite disingenuous. They're quite intellectually dishonest. Why? Well, let's look at it. Women refuse to admit that it is more natural and noble to want to have sex with someone because you're attracted to them than it is for what material possessions and materialism they can offer you in a artificial ecosystem, in a concrete jungle. A lot of these women are Bob Marley fans. They're Christians. They're religious people. But their emotions are more powerful in their decision-making process than the religion. It's quite sickening how they expect us to allow them to be decision makers. And this is not something that one day they're emotional about it and then the next day they say, you know what, we admit it. You know, naturally people are attracted to who they're attracted to, and it takes a fucking shallow, trife, you know, petty, you know, materialistic whore. You know, there is no obscurity. This is not an obscure idea. This is straight fucking forward. It takes someone who is more shallow to like someone for their money, for what they can provide for them financially and so forth. Then I just got a text message. Excuse me, I lost my train of thought. You know, I've been arguing with a woman who doesn't see it my way and is absolutely distraught at the thought that I would refuse to admit that I'm wrong, that I would see it this way. They say, you're so narrow-minded. It's like, wow. And there's two issues here, really. One, is that women are shallow whores who need to be told about themselves. Okay, what happens when nobody says anything? Right? You know what? You know, you're a bunch of gold-digging whores. You know, fine. You want to kill your babies. Fine. You know, you're right. You know? I'm not going to disagree with you because I want to have sex with you. You're right, baby. What happens if everyone does that? Well, people get along. You know, let's look at the plus. Let's look at the pros, to be fair. Let's look at the pros first. Everyone gets along, and, you know, women feel more comfortable, and they're throwing less bitch fits, and they're acting like they're on their period less, and so on and so forth. You know, you're pandering to them. You're pampering them. Is that really worth this world going to fucking hell? Is it? Is that really worth this world going to hell? Let's think about this. Why are women better at maintenance and men better at leading? Well, because when you get upset, you're less likely to fuck shit up when you're just maintaining things. You know, you throw a fit in the house, you know. Okay, you throw a fit in the house, you might have broken the vase, you know, might have broken a few pitchers, broken a few dishes, you know. No biggie. You get upset in a decision-making position, you might have fucked everything the fuck up. Everything. And these are the same whores that work in mental health, who say, oh, take your medicine so you can function. And they don't want to admit that women are fucking emotional and it affects their functioning. And these are the same people who invest in the ideas emotionally, politically, socially. They invest in the idea of, quote unquote, mood disorders. And they admit that 1 in 4 women are on prescription medication and 1 in 6 men are, but they see nothing wrong with that. And they don't see the deeper implications and significance of the fact that women are more commonly running afoul of society's social norms based on their emotions. They're going to turn around and say, well, this from a guy with a mental disorder, when their same books show that they are the lesser sex. Emotionally, physically, historically, and spiritually. What other scale is there? Mind, body, soul, less. Generally speaking. For the most part. Normally, usually. It's very sad, man. To this day, as a group, women refuse to admit that they are more pathetic than men when it comes to dating. Not because men trick them into bed. That's a story for another day. I'm going to leave that one alone. Because that, to me, that's not here nor there. It kind of shows that men can outsmart women, yes. But it also shows that men can be lowly. So it really doesn't prove anything this way or that way. So I'm going to leave that one alone. But what does show something, because men know, when they play a bitch, you know, they're like, yes, I know it's fucking wrong, but they're a bitch. It's a difference. When women use men for money, do they say, yes, we know it's wrong, but they're a man? Sometimes they do. Mostly they don't. They say, well, a man has to take care of a woman and whoop-de-whoop. Does being a feminist change that? No. Does being a feminist change the fact that men pay for dinner and this and that, hold the door open for lady? No. Gender feminism in application, in practice, means demanding everything that a man gets and enjoying everything that a woman gets. This is what we typically see. There are extreme situations where women go way out of the way to try to negate that and try to make things truly fair, but you know, judging by what most feminism is about and what feminism is generally, we have to, when we use a term, we have to use what it generally is. For example, when we use the term criminal, are all criminals doing despicable things? No, but generally they are. So when we say criminal, it has a connotation of doing a despicable act. That's how it is. So the few guys who have a good reason to be a criminal, or the maybe 10% or whatever it breaks down to, do they change the definition and our understanding and what it means? No. Same thing with feminists. The few feminists who fucking are good people, does it change the masses of Babylonian whores? No. No. What the fuck are you talking about? Anyway, it's like sex offenders. The few sex offenders who, got a bad rap, does it change the fact that the term sex offender means a piece of fucking shit, a scumbag who should get shot? No, it doesn't change that. So women, I know you're not going to agree with me because you're fucking women. You're the lesser sex. You don't want to admit it. You're fucking inferior. You're not going to admit it. Fine. Then you're going to say, well, you can say the same thing about blacks being inferior. No, you can't. No, you can't. If you really examine history with and go through with a fine-tooth comb, you can't really say that. History doesn't show that. The thousands and thousands of years of history are actually on the black man's side above every other race. But we're not going to get into that. So all these crybabies who try to group things, we're not going to get, they're wrong. They're fucking wrong. It's not the same to say, you know what, you're a faggot, my religion says you're a piece of shit, you're a fucking feminist scum, so on and so forth. You can say, well, black slavery, yeah, there were white slaves in fucking Egypt and Semitics and too, and Asiatics. What's your fucking point? Everybody was fucking slaves. You can't use that angle on me. I'm not a dumbass. You're the dumbass who's going to hear the truth, not able to address my key points after I destroyed yours, and you're still going to see things the same way because you're the closed-minded fucking idiot, not me. Anyway, so you sit there, emotional as fuck. Oh, they just want to have sex. Oh my goodness, they want to. Let me get this straight. They're trying to be romantically involved with you, and your problem is that they want to have sex. Well, I don't know. Call me crazy. But if I want to be friends with somebody, then I don't want to have sex with that person, man or female. If I want to be romantically involved with something, call me fucking crazy, but I'm interested in having sex with that person. And it goes back to judgment as well. The difference between men and women's judgment as dating is also quite interesting. You see, women, if they're very good looking, their chances are they're more bitter. Because if you get over on them, you play them, whatever. They're like, my pussy is worth a lot of money, I'm fine, and blah, 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 blah. So they tend to be more bitter than the ugly woman who's kind of happy to have sex in the first place. She's like, oh, you think I'm pretty, and blah, blah, blah. Okay. So men typically outsmart women with dating. Typically, their desire is more noble and natural. Typically, and for the most part, they, what was I going to say? I forgot. I have a lot on my fucking mind. I apologize. But anyway, I think it's very sad, this whole situation. The fact that most of the videos that I make are not deep theological concepts. The videos I make about the Trinity are a little bit more understandable. It's a little bit more complicated, but these things, when we're talking about men and women, we're talking about hypergamy being wrong. I shouldn't have to say these things. I shouldn't have to say that men are meant to lead. I shouldn't have to say that being a gold-digging whore is not cute. I shouldn't have to say feminism and racism and atheism and Satanism and New World Orders and homosexuality, LGBT and psychiatry is evil. I shouldn't have to tell anybody these things. The fact that I do is a sign of the times that is not favorable to the masses. My goodness, man. This is what it's come to. A bunch of sluts in denial. I'm shunned and persecuted and blacklisted by the scum of this earth. And I say to all you women who think you're good women, where were you? The last 33 years of my life, well, I'll be reasonable. The last 20 years of my life, since I was just barely a teenager, where were you? When I was persecuted by the scum of the earth, a man of principle and settling with women, being played with by women and so on. When I was looking so carefully and so continuously for love. Women have this kind of contiguous empire that stretches across the whole face of the earth of a bunch of feminist, gold-digging whores who rule through the Nazi principles of applied pussy power. Thank you.